Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is AntBee. If you are a returning viewer, then welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, then thanks for stopping by. Here on this channel, we're 100% candid. We don't pull punches, and we're gonna let you know the real to the real. Now, hopefully, this will be the video that will convince you to stick around for the long haul, and you end up subscribing. Now, as you can tell by both the title and the thumbnail, I'm gonna be giving you my thoughts and opinions on the trailer itself, as well as what I expect the actual movie to be like, because we all know Marvel's marketing team be thinking it's slick. Because I got such positive feedback on my last Marvel video, giving you my thoughts and opinions on Captain America Brave New World, I decided that it would be foolish not to spin the block and let you know my takes on Fantastic Four. So I appreciate you taking the time out to rock with me. Kick back, relax, vibe out, and let's get a discussion going. So without further ado, and here we go. Now, my thoughts on the trailer. I liked it. I actually liked it. I thought that the color grading, the score, the costume design, even the monologue by Sue Storm, I thought it all came together beautifully to make a great trailer. Now, for me personally, I grew up watching a lot of old time shows like Leave It to Beaver, Three's Company, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, Golden Girls, Brady Bunch, you name it, Three's Company. I've watched a lot of period pieces, so that was a large part of the reason why I love WandaVision, at least up until the point when we knew what was happening. When we knew everything that was going on, that's when it started to, lose me and get very, Marvel-like. But before then, I was highly intrigued, I was engaged, and I felt like that's what this trailer did. It kind of drawn me in a little bit. And it makes sense that, the creator of WandaVision also is directing this movie, Matt Shakman. Now, Matt Shakman, he has, or Shackman, I don't know, whichever one. He has a great track record in television. Like I said, up until midway through WandaVision, I loved it. He also directed It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, for me, I am a huge fan of comedies, so It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is very near and dear to my heart. And he also directed some noteworthy episodes. When it comes to his comedic timing, I'm not gonna cast any doubt on the man. But this is cinema we're talking about. So just because you're great at television doesn't necessarily mean that you will also excel in cinema. Now, as I stated initially, I love the trailer, but I'm also not a prisoner of the moment. I do understand that this is all marketing, and they marketed it brilliantly because they left out some key elements out of the trailer. And the most noteworthy to me is them leaving out the Silver Surfer.
Wait a minute!
The MCU's Silver Surfer, which is Shala Ball, who happens to be Norrin Radd, the original Silver Surfer's lover. Now, to me, that was definitely an interesting choice as far as casting a Silver Surfer, because and this is what Marvel has a huge issue with doing. They love catering to such a minuscule, small, minute group of fans and alienating their mass majority of fans that actually got them to this point that they are now, right? Because the Silver Surfer is a beloved character. It's kind of like with Miles Morales, right? It's kind of like if we was to go back and remove Peter Parker from the Civil War, which was his introduction into the MCU, and put Miles Morales there. Can you imagine the type of backlash that would have happened because of that? Now, obviously, Spider-Man is a larger character as far as fame goes than Silver Surfer. We understand that, but still, how can you, kick something off and not have the original character do it? It's just weird to me. But it was brilliant. I would say it was brilliant of Marvel to leave her out of it, because the purpose of a trailer is to gain attention, to gain interest in the product so people can purchase the product. So by omitting such a polarizing decision from the trailer, you're giving the trailer room to breathe. You're giving the trailer room to stretch his legs and to gain some type of traction, momentum. So that was definitely a great part, and I understand why they did it, because had, you know, Shia LaBeouf Silver Surfer been inside the trailer, this trailer probably would not have been received so highly as it has. So once again, I'm not a prisoner at the moment, so I'm personally able to see the bigger picture. Another noteworthy missing addition from the trailer was Mr. Fantastic displaying his abilities. Now, Mr. Fantastic, it's hard to kind of convey that ability. You know, that stretch power, that's not an easy thing to get across, because Mr. Fantastic himself is a character that's real. He's a real character. Like, he's not CGI. This is really going to be Pedro moving around filming. They're not going to put any CGI on him. So it's kind of difficult to, you know, jump in and out of CGI and realism. Now, with characters like the Incredible Hulk, being that Bruce Banner transformed into the Incredible Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, when he's on the screen, he remains CGI. So it's easier to have him do fantastical things because he's already a CGI character. Now you got characters like Thor, for instance. Thor, who use his thunder abilities and stuff like that. Chris Hemsworth is a real character, and the camera is showing Chris Hemsworth in all his realism, right? His real flesh, his real joint movements, and all that stuff is being on display. The only thing they're doing is just, you know, overlaying it with some graphics of thunder. So if I hold my hand out and you see lightning shoot out of my hands, my mobility and movements are still real. You're just seeing the graphics overlaid on it. So it's easier to kind of get that across. But when you take Mr. Fantastic, who's 1 minute is real, next thing you know, his neck is being stretched out and all that stuff, it starts to look a little silly. And it's kind of hard to convey that. So them omitting his ability from the trailer was another brilliant marketing move by Marvel. Kudos, they was on it. And I thought that the choice of casting Pedro as Mr. Fantastic was a bad choice. To me, it was horrible. I'm a person where I'm all about, you know, diversity, right? I mean, look at me. I'm a black guy. I got no choice. I'm all about diversity. But I think that there are some foundational characters that should not be touched. And Mr. Fantastic is one of those characters. Captain America is one of those characters. Now, I feel like with Pedro being Mr. Fantastic, if you are going to go the route of changing his demographic, fine. But for me personally, like I said, I grew up watching a lot of period pieces as far as, you know, the 60s, 70s, 80s and all that stuff. I grew up watching television from these eras. So for me personally, I happen to have an idea of what belongs in each era. And the choice for them to allow Pedro to keep his facial hair, it's glaring to me. It's glaring to me because that's wrong. That is wrong. Now, that facial hair movement didn't really pop in until like the 70s, you know, during the hippie movement, where people was rebellion against the wars and all that stuff and free love and all that stuff. They're letting their hair grow. But prior to that, it was very clean cut. Very clean cut. And Mr. Fantastic having a mustache, that's not Mr. Fantastic at all. I know it's a little nitpick or whatever the case is, but for all the people who, you know, comic accurate, you should love that. You should love that take. You should love that point, because that's not Mr. Fantastic. I have a problem with that, but it's not that much of a problem where I could boycott a movie. It's not that serious, but just a little nitpick. Now, all in all, I would say once again, to reiterate, I'm a little perplexed by that beautiful shot of Johnny over the horizon. Because it's like when he flame on, his clothes is supposed to be finished. Like, how can clothes withstand that fire? You get what I'm saying? And that's one thing that the movies from the 2005 version, they got right. Whenever Johnny, you know, used his abilities, his clothes was done. He was only able to get away with it because his suit that he ended up adopting his powers while wearing, it, you know, also went through that DNA change with him. So his suit was able to withstand the fire because he's able to withstand fire. So that made sense. But in this shot right here, You know, clearly his clothes look like your average J. Crew outfit. I don't understand how they're going to sell that his clothes didn't burn up. But because of that, I guess we just got to tune in, right? So I'm looking forward to them explaining that part. Like I said before, the robot Herbie, I love his design. It reminds me of J5 from Short Circuit, which is an old time movie, but it is reminiscent of that. So kudos right there. Ben Grimm, I know that he is comic accurate. The eyebrows is still a little crazy. Me personally, I would have liked it if he was a little taller. You know, right now it seems like he's the same height as the rest of the cast, and to me that's a little odd. But I would just like for him to be a little taller, because I mean, this is a character that fights the Hulk, you get what I'm saying? So he's not like a little guy. But that's another nitpick of mine. All in all, I would say that I personally don't have high expectations for this movie, although I love the trailer and that doesn't change. I don't really have high expectations for this movie. I'm very interested to see how they would handle Galactus. I'm interested to see how Galactus would even look, you know, when we get a full look at him and see like how they display his abilities, the whole nine. So there's a lot of things that are attracting me to actually see this movie, which is refreshing because it's been a long time since I actually cared to see a Marvel movie. And one thing about this movie that I almost forgot to mention is that because it takes place in the 60s and the tone of the movie, at least, you know, via the trailer, because, you know, it might seem serious in the trailer and then it'd be a little wonky and silly when the actual movie is out. But just going off the trailer, the tone of the movie and the time period of the movie, all of it is creating a whole new feel, and this is a great thing for Marvel. This is why Guardians of the Galaxy was such a hit when it came out, because prior to Guardians of the Galaxy, all the Marvel movies kind of had a similar feel to it. You get what I'm saying? It was rooted in present day. The color code, the color grading was similar. It was just all similar. And Guardians of the Galaxy came out of nowhere with their vibrant colors and their out of this world characters and life forms. It gave us something different, something new, something refreshing. And even their sense of comedy was different from the other MCU movies up until that point, at least. So it was very refreshing. Now I feel like Fantastic Four has a chance to get back to that feel of something new. You get what I'm saying? Pull back from all that silly comedy that the MCU is currently in and make it more rooted in realism. And I think that they would have a hit if they just, you know, try to separate as much as possible from the current MCU. You get what I'm saying? You gotta separate it from the dumpster fire, you know, make it its own thing. And as it's been reported that the Fantastic Four movie doesn't take place in Earth 616, which is the current MCU timeline. For those who don't know, it's rooted in Earth 616. Being that Fantastic Four is not a part of that, by default, it makes it its own thing. We're going to go into now wondering if there's going to be a newspaper article on the desk about Captain America or something like that. Like, no, we are going to just focus on the Fantastic Four. And that was a great idea by Marvel, a great choice. Now, whether or not Robert Downey is going to be in it, who knows? As far as it being a Fantastic Four movie, that's what it's going to be, and that's what we are all expecting. So all in all, I love the trailer. I don't really have any expectations for the MCU in general. So by default, my expectations are low for the movie when it actually come out. And they also, you know, they're hiding their hands for some things that may be polarizing in the movie. But at this point in time, I will actually see the movie. So that's how I feel about it. Please, 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 if you haven't done so already, then hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This will go a great way to help supporting the channel. And also, let me know what you guys think about the movie. Are you looking forward to it? Do you agree with my points, or do you have another point that I probably didn't cover? I'm interested to know. Let's get a discussion going. And until the next video, per usual, take care of yourself. Be blessed. Peace.